My name is Terry Lynch. I'm with ORB Ufology. I found myself searching for a passageway one day. And that passageway goes right across the complete section of the Cascades, which I'm sitting in front of at the moment. On top of one peak. I want to make sure that everybody sees the type of things that we find in the process of research for ufology. I have located a couple that's sitting here on the top of Blind Peak. She's facing south. She's looking north.
The Middle, Cascadia Guides, a Let's production, in conjunction with Alien Strand Films.
Hi, this is ASDP ufologist Jodi Brown from Arizona, and you are watching Alien Strand Podcast with host Donald Ledesma.
AlienStrand.com, the official website. Alien Strand Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Don Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. And welcome to ufology. Hey, man, this is what we're about. We're about teaching people about ufology and everything that happens up in our skies. We always say, keep your eyes in the sky, right? Because that's exactly what it's about. A lot of people, they just don't pay attention up there too much, and us folks that we do this daily, and we do it, I'm not going to say for a living, but we do it because something extraordinary happened to us, and it opens something up to where we have to look up in the sky when we wake up in the morning or even in the evening, you know what I mean? This is what folks like us do, you know what I mean? And it's not that we're crazy, but it's just something that sparked inside up here in your brain, right? That we're just trying to figure out. But welcome to Alien Strand Podcast. Have you noticed ASDP is right up in the front with that? You can catch us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It's not Twitter anymore. It's called X, all right? So now that's going to be the new platform. We are live there. Please follow us there. You can actually, tomorrow, the live audio podcast of this show today will be tomorrow. It'll be up all over the place on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can even ask Alexa to play Alien Strand Podcast, and she will, or he will, whichever way you want to put the voice on that, okay? So, today's podcast, it's going to be episode number 94. It's going to be with Miss Jodi Brown, and we called it Orb Beings because a lot of things that she was seeing up in her area in Arizona, but we'll get into that here in a bit. Just remember, you can always catch us on at alienstrand.com. Make sure to visit us there. And if you want to be on the show, alienstrandpodcast@gmail.com. Give me a holler. I'll put you on a show or anything like that. If you want to report a UFO or a UAP, however you want to call it, email us at astpdon@gmail.com as well. All right. So you can be a part of ASDP, just like Miss Jodi Lynn Brown is here today. You know, she's a part of it, and you saw her at the very beginning of this podcast. She's part of our commercial, and I'm glad she was able to get her little thing out there, because she did a great job. I think she did. So anyway, like I said, if you want to go to alienstrand.com or ASDP-UFO.com, go check out those two websites. You know, they are part of Alien Strand, and they're part of everything that has to do with us every day, right? In ufology and in the supernatural world as well. We also do supernatural, so don't forget that. Also, don't forget, if you haven't caught our movie, The Middle, please go check it out. It's on Amazon Prime, right? It's $2.99, or you can catch it on Tubi TV, and it's for free on Tubi TV. But give and take, you got the commercials, right? You know, just give us a like there, give us a thumbs up after you watch the film. We really appreciate it, and it will go a long way. And we are now in 5 countries, so this our film is playing in 5 countries already. So if you're not able to get it in your country, just go to ledsfilms.com and give me an email, and I'll send you the link to the film. All right. If you haven't watched it yet, you're not able to watch it, send me a link. I'll send you a link. All right. So just send me an email. We have to do that, so that way you guys can at least watch it in your country. Okay. Also, we did the middle CE3. So we got that going. We went out there and we filmed a few weeks ago. I'm going to say maybe a month ago now. And of course, Miss Jodi Lynn Brown, she's there at the very top right. She is a part of that film. Her story is very important. Now, she's going to give you some insights tonight, but in the film, you're going to see a lot more of things that she talked about that won't be on this podcast today, but she's going to get as much information as she can. Okay. So, tonight's podcast, orb beings, spirit or spiritual entities, what they can actually be or possibly be. Now, if you guys want to chime in today, and if you guys are watching me live or watching us live, you can actually put your comments on Facebook, YouTube, or any platform you're watching live right now. I'll see them come in. I'll throw them on the feed. So if you got any questions for her or myself, give us a shout out, man. I'll throw it out there for you guys. Okay. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get Miss Jodi Brown in there, and let's have a nice conversation with her.
Hi,
there she is. How are you doing today?
doing good. Hot, of course.
Well, yeah, it's pretty hot in your area, because we went up there to film. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it was 106 or something like that during the daylight that we were out there. But it was we had a great experience regardless. I know that you contacted us, and we've been talking for a few months now, maybe 5 months or so, back and forth. You did send me a lot of your footage, and I thought it was just amazing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I've never seen anything like it. That's the thing, right? And so when I saw it, and I was like, man, I've never seen somebody catch a craft or something like that so close. That you were able to film it really well, right? So can you kind of tell everybody about yourself, where you're from, things like that?
I'm from Arizona. I am 48 years old. I was a retired mother, housewife, and basically my kids are grown, and flew the nest, and I was out camping and just enjoying my, retirement years, and had an encounter. That's where it started.
Wow. And about what year was that?
That was in 2019 in December 23rd, actually, of 2019. I was that camping.
So, when y'all first got there, you just didn't think anything was going to happen. Just kind of went through the motion of camping, right? So did it happen later that evening?
Yeah, we pulled up in a Class A motorhome, ready to camp as we do in the desert in a motorhome. And it was getting late. We were getting ready for bed, and my ex ran in and said I needed to come and look at these lights outside. So I walked into the bathroom of the RV and opened the window, and these lights were bouncing around in the sky, and they came from the sky down to the ground, and they were bouncing around in and out of the trees around, the RV, and like bouncing into each other. It almost appeared like they were playing with each other. And as I get to looking at them, they're coming closer, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because at first I thought maybe they were spirit orbs. And as I got closer, I could see they were much bigger than what we're taught spirit orbs, are. So I grabbed my phone and I stuck my hand out the window and I took a picture of them. Well, my phone's camera shutter sound, that sound it makes, was on, and it was so quiet and so dark out there that, and my phone was on full blast. So it made this shutter sound, and they stopped in midair, almost like they were like looking at me. Of course, I didn't see eyes or anything. It was just two balls of energy. And like they were aware that of the sound, and actually it looked like stopped to see where it came from, and then bounced into each other, and disappeared, completely just vanished. And I was like, I had to know what I just witnessed. So I then began, a 2-3 year long investigation basically as to what these lights were. And, I found out.
So, when you saw those, they were bouncing together, how far from you were they? I know you were inside the camper, but how far from you were they? At
first they were about probably 250 yards, and then they got closer. They came as close at that time, about probably 75 yards in. It wasn't really, maybe 50, they were pretty close, close enough that I could see that it definitely wasn't orbs. You could see the energy spinning inside of this thing, like a Tesla ball almost.
Oh, wow. Really?
And it was almost like if you touched it, you were going to be shocked into next millennium or something. There was that much energy. I could feel the energy too, all around me.
Did you notice that if anything was while they were floating in the air, how high were they from the ground? Do you think they were floating?
From the ground, at first they were pretty high. They looked like stars in the sky. And then they started coming down lower and lower. And they came all the way almost to the ground. They probably were hovering about 3 or 4 foot off the ground at one point.
Wow. And now, when they were that close to the ground, because I know you had a good look at them. I know it's dark out there at night, but could you see some kind of a force or anything that was making maybe the ground or the grass kind of move in a way to where it was kind of bringing some kind of weight down or pressure?
At first, I didn't notice anything, that night, but the next night they actually came out of the sky again, and this time we're on the hill up in front of us, and it was like they were just kind of waiting there. And I couldn't, of course I had to start researching it. I'm not really into space or alien sci-fi stuff like that. I was very much into spiritual, like ghosts and things like that, but nothing of this nature. So I had to get online, and actually that's when I found out that aliens come to Earth and people know about it. And I was like, what? I didn't understand it. But at first, it took a lot of research and a lot of encounters. I've had multiple encounters daily since, and have seen some things that these at one point the light came down and came probably, I could have maybe reached out and touched it just a little further than arms reach. And my ex and I, and do you want me to tell you the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
What happened there? We were inside again, getting ready to go to bed. And at that point, I had put surveillance cameras up around the RV because I was experiencing weird things, like when I would leave my dog and go in, places and come back. It just seemed like something was bothering him. He was frightened of something. So I put, surveillance cameras around, and we were getting ready to go to bed. And I noticed on the camera this bright orange light. It looks almost like fire, like orange fire, And so my ex went out front, and he jumped on the trunk of the car, and I'm standing at the steps of the RV. And at the angle that I was at, I was like higher than, looking kind of down, because everything was taking place further down, like a little slope. And as he's filming, the light flashes us, and then the light goes completely off. And of course, he's yelling at me and questioning, like, what is he seeing? Oh my God, he can't believe what he's seeing. And I'm like completely astounded. The light was so bright that it literally lit up the whole entire huge neighborhood out here. And as it came down and came closer, the energy from it was so intense. Like I wanted to pass out really, but I couldn't help but to keep watching. And this thing flashes us, and then the light goes completely out in it. And I'm watching it. At this point, it's probably about 150 yards away, but I got a good vantage point on it. And I see the fog or clouds or something just start rolling in, right? And this thing changes, completely shape shifts, whatever you want to call it, changed from this weird little light into a craft about the size of a beetle, like a bug vehicle, and
Volkswagen.
yeah, and I could see it, but I couldn't see it. It went translucent and blended in with the scenery, but I could still see the outline of it because its light was so bright. After it blinked off, like it still illuminated the whole area for a brief minute. And I can hear my ex yelling things, but I have no idea what he's saying, because I'm saying to him, "Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Oh my God, are you seeing this?" And he's, I don't know if he's answering, but this thing like teleported where it was, and then almost like to me, almost right in front of my face, like another arm's length that could have reached out and touched it. And it then had legs all of a sudden, and I still couldn't see the whole thing, but I could tell that it had legs because of its movement and the way it looked like it was running, and it was galloping, almost like it had life to it too, like the whole structure, the whole thing was alive in some kind of crazy way. And it went out to the road. At this point, it's about 200 yards away, 150, and it changed shapes again, turned into like this square looking, some kind of, vehicle, and something lifted up off the top of it, and it took off. I mean, this thing moved faster than I've ever seen anything in my life move ever. And I just was like, my mouth was dropped to the floor. I was like, oh my God, what did I just witness? And
now, your boyfriend at the time, when he first saw this, I know, because I saw. We have a video. We're gonna show 2 videos tonight, so that way people can know exactly what you saw. But in his voice, he sounds like he's scared, or it's freaking him out, like he doesn't understand what he's seeing. Right. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is his fear. His reactions was like fear, and yours was more like, okay, what am I seeing? Right? It was 2 different kind of reactions you were getting there.
Absolutely. Yeah. After it took off, I mean, that's when kind of the fear set in. I'm looking around, and the whole area is completely filled with fog. Like they had something that makes clouds so that they can hide in. I'm realizing that, oh my God, this thing was completely invisible. I knew if I took my eyes off of it for one brief second, blinked or anything, that I was absolutely never going to find it again. I would not know where it was. It was something just like surreal. It was like, to this day, I still am at awe when I think about it. It, like, the kind of technology that I just witnessed, I still can't even wrap my head around. Like, that's what I knew from what I witnessed, is the technology alone is unfathomable. Like,
now, before this happened to you on that night, were you ever into like UFOs, spaceships, things like that up in the sky? Were you ever into that kind of stuff? You know, I mean,
oh, absolutely not. In fact, the only thing I knew about aliens was, you know, anybody my age that grew up with the movie Aliens and Sigourney Weaver, and no thanks, stay away from me. Don't want to go in outer space. Don't, you know, have nothing like that. No. And now I that's all I do is watch the skies. Like, you know.
Now that evening, did you have your phone on you, or you guys just kind of witnessed it on the fly like that?
We we witnessed it. I didn't know this until now, but at the time I didn't really understand. But apparently it was a connection that anytime I have a thought or any kind of thought of them at all, they're there. That's what I think. They're outside every night, hovering, waiting. They've showed themselves to some people, and some people they don't. And I'm trying to still understand that, but since then, it kept progressing. Like, and I've noticed the videos even have progressed as far as what they're willing to show me. In one, it's just a bright light and in reality, what we're seeing is something completely different than what is actually being captured on the film. It doesn't, I don't even know how to explain it. But it looks like
cameras don't do it justice at any level. What you're seeing with a naked eye, because you have to remember, our naked eye, we have about, I think, 18 stops of dynamic range. So what this is what you're seeing with your eye. So now, because I'm kind of tell you about a little bit about cinema cameras. Cinema cameras are getting there. They're about 16 stops of dynamic range. So in other words, they're getting close to what we're trying to see with the naked eye. So what your cell phones capture is not as sharp. It's not going to pick it up as well. You're not going to see every detail or everything that you're seeing with a naked eye, because I know you told me that the energy that's inside this ball that you're seeing, it's not visible on the video. You can't see it.
You're right. You're right. And sometimes it works the opposite, where you're actually what you are show up on the video, and then vice versa. You know what I mean? When you do have good video, anyway, if I'm saying that right, it's crazy. What we film isn't like, in the video, it turns into a little, almost like a cartoonish looking kind of ball in a way of energy, and then starts to fade away. But in reality, this thing was moving, changing itself, showing itself. So there's obviously, they have a way that they can hide themselves very, very, very well. Very well. I mean, I realized that, oh my God, they could be completely surrounding us and we wouldn't have any clue. And since then, I mean, some of the stuff that I've captured is just absolutely amazing, right? I mean, they have ships that look just like clouds they were doing things. They were over here going in and out of a mine, an old gypsy mine that just, they pull the dirt to make concrete and stuff. And it was during pandemic and nobody was working the mine. And these things they were coming from the sky and going in and out of this mine like they had business there, and to this day are still over there doing things.
I know, and I wish we could have stayed there that night, that evening, but we had got caught up, and you're saying they're going to be here tonight, but we weren't able to catch it on video, and I kicked myself in the butt for it. But we are going back that direction. We're not done filming yet. So, but let's go ahead and show the folks one of your films. It's off of your YouTube channel, and that way, and this is what they caught, and this is the one with your boyfriend on the ex-boyfriend. So here we go. Let's go ahead and show this one. Here we go.
I'm scared. What is it? Am I tripping, Joe? Oh my God, what is this thing? Holy crap, guys. Okay, so I just started out here because I saw this on my video camera outside my house. So I came outside to say hello. This is what I see. Joe, it's not the same thing you see in the screen, just like you said. Jojo. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Is it tricking me, Joe? It's not tricking me or nothing. Is it coming up on me? Come over here. It's okay. Jodi, look, there's not a star in the sky, Joe. It's coming right to me, dude. Oh my God, Joe, it's so close. It's okay. It's okay.
Wow. That's on the ground, right? It's like literally on the ground.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like on the ground. Yeah, yeah, and then of course, it's something you can't control. It makes me think of like the old cartoon characters when the dog starts shaking so bad. My whole body was completely shaking of like amazement. It was, all these emotions, and to this day still go on like seeing something like that. Yeah,
and I could tell, but you didn't have very many words to say in the background. I can hear him asking you everything. You're like, yes, no, kind of short with your sentences with him, because I believe you were like,
yeah,
you were in all. Yes, you were. And I actually got goosebumps just watching that. And Rosie says, I got goosebumps too. She got goosebumps too. And I wanted to show that because, and that's going to be in our film as well. But I wanted you guys out there watching this podcast tonight to know what you've seen, because you saw how close that was. I mean, how often do people get that opportunity to see something like that and to witness it up close? And he's zooming in. About how far was that light orb from you?
The light from me at the closest, the probably about 100, less than maybe 75 yards, maybe 50, 75 yards at that point.
And that's close.
Yeah, it was really close. Yeah. And I get to see that almost nightly.
Nightly, huh?
Like nightly. That's just how bad for some they want to connect or something. And it's scary though, because I'm by myself out here, so I for some reason I feel they have to abide by free will, or they do, and they can hear my thoughts. Because I started investigating every aspect of this. Like I almost left no stone unturned. I became very obsessed for the past, since 2019, pretty much in this going to the same area over and over, to the point my RV burned down completely to the ground out there in that same area.
Wow. Dude, tell us how that video unfolded. How did it unfold?
What do you mean? Like, as far as,
how did it all start? I mean, did you guys just go outside, smoking a cigarette, then it just popped out?
We were getting ready to go to bed, and I seen the light. I seen it in the surveillance camera on the ground. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing is like really like on the ground, super close right now. Like it's out there waiting for us. And my ex went out there first, and he's like jumped on the back of the car. And at one point he's telling me to let my dog go. And I was so scared. Like I knew it was something that not of this world. I had already been seeing the lights, seeing a few things that that I couldn't even believe.
Right.
Like at one point there was a craft, like it looked like it was scanning the ground, and these things move unlike anything we've ever seen, ever, couldn't even probably imagine. And it looked just like the cloud in the sky only, and I captured it. One like 10-second video I captured of it. And it looks almost the way it comes in the video. I mean, you can tell it's just one single cloud on the ground, but it shimmers, and it's some kind of invisible, some kind of shields that they have, some kind of a magnetic shield they have over, like they can, and it's like a live, I've seen these craft turn from a craft into a being, an actual being, like coming towards me. And I don't even know,
Well, Angela says, she goes, my house burned down. The power pole blew out at the house. Never occurred to me that it could have been some interaction with a ship. She goes, she's had a lot of experiences in the last couple of years, and her entire life, with, these crafts as well. Now that you brought this to my attention, Ryan Keaton, right? He's out of San Antonio. He's the one that we caught that live video where we saw what you saw, but it was way up in the sky, right? And he says that sometimes you see it, it's a small little dot and it comes real close and it stays the same size, right? And it can come even closer and it still looks about the same size as that dot. So in other words, it's manifesting itself into that orb or whatever it is, or whatever size it needs to be, right? Is this like what's happening to you there?
Oh yeah. Like at one point, they were actually sitting on the RV and around the RV, completely around it, as they look like little tiny fireflies. Well, we don't have fireflies here. At that point, that's when I'm aware, okay, that these things can do things, because I was in the bathroom of the RV, because sometimes I didn't want to go stand out there because I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. That's how dark it is. And in the some people think, oh, the desert's always, it was dark and cold. I mean, freezing cold. Okay. Wow. And so I would open the RV window. Well, they were coming down every night, like probably about, 200 yards away from us, 225 yards away, right across to where the mine was. And if I looked at them and would start thinking, come closer, I won't hurt you, they would start coming closer. And, as more research I did, the more people were telling me that, they're telepathic, or they can read your thoughts. And sure enough, I mean, I started testing it, and absolutely they can read your thoughts. And I was staring at one light that had come to the ground. It was far away, down on the ground, like 225 yards or so. And it felt like I was in it. Like I just kind of got into a trance, because I found myself just staring at it. As I'm staring at it, this thing is coming closer to me, and the energy inside of it, I can see it's like shooting energy, moving really fast. And there's a different faces. And it looked to me like all different types of beings and animals or other things. Nothing that I really like, nothing human that I recognize, but all these and the feeling I got, or the thought that I had gotten from that was all the energies connected, because apparently we're all connected. So all the energies that were connected with this thing that was coming towards me. And as it got closer, it got dimmer, like the light in it started going down, and it started getting smaller, like it was shrinking. I found myself at the very end. I had both arms out the RV window, and I'm like balancing myself on the window itself, trying to lean out as far as I can, trying to record this thing coming towards me. And at the one point, the last thing I see is it looks like an alligator, crocodiles, lizard, maybe something like that, crawling on the ground. Okay. And again, it's like probably 2 arm lengths away now. And then it just disappears. And it takes me a second, to realize, okay, this thing just disappeared. where did it go? Oh my God. And I go to turn to bring my right arm into the window, and right here, like a ghost. I mean, there was an alien, a being of some kind. Like it was kind of hovering right here next to, like it had, when it disappeared, it went right here and was kind of watching me as I'm coming in. And I mean, I just took the biggest gasp of my life and froze. I was looking straight ahead. And I mean, you want to talk about your heart in your stomach, and like in my mind, I'm thinking, don't run. Oh my God, I'm so scared, but I can't help but I want to know, you know, and I wouldn't look it directly in the eye. I mean, I was scared. It's not anything I could even control. And
so you were like you were petrified at that point, right? So you're kind of like, oh crap, what did I do, right? Did you have that feeling like, what did I do?
Oh my God, like, yes, like no, like nobody's business. I mean, even today when I think about it, you know, I never expected ever in my life for anything like that to happen. And I just took like every scary movie you've ever seen, you know, when you turn your head and then you turn back and the ghost is there. I mean, that's how frightening it was. And I just thought I could see out of my peripheral vision, and in my mind, I'm like, just memorize everything I can memorize about this moment. Like, you know, I'm actually thinking, you know, what his eyes look like, you know, what I can remember and see. I couldn't see basically from a little below the waist down because I wouldn't move my head. I was so frightened to even look at it, you know, eye to eye. And it tilted its head and kind of like raised its hand up like it wanted to touch my face. I mean, that's how close it was, less than like 6 inches. And I mean, yeah. And then just poof, vanished, like just like that. And,
well, you got me in awe right now. So we're going to show the second video. Okay, guys. So you guys that are watching tonight, please pay attention to these videos because they're very, very important. All right. It makes you think a different way of seeing things as we're watching this unfold, and it unfolded in front of her and in front of him as well. So we're going to show this next video, and it's going to be of an orb. One of those orbs that she's talking about. It's literally right there in front of him on the ground. So, or kind of hovering a little bit above the ground, maybe about, I don't know, less than a foot. So we're going to go ahead and play that right now. Here we go.
I see the trailer, but the light itself. It looks like it's changing or moving or something.
And the tree.
Milo, where are you? Get over here. See, now it's super bright.
Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those lights
It is. It's got to
they
be
go
like
down and they go
light or something, huh?
It, like a lightsaber kind of like that.
Like this.
Yeah. I like that, but that's a good video. I don't know if you notice the alien face in the video that you can see. It's almost like a signature that they do for my videos. Anyways, they like to put faces, but you see a huge alien face right on the top of that whole craft there.
And that was like what, maybe 5 feet away from you guys, maybe at the most, or 10 feet, maybe.
It was. Yeah, very close. Probably a little bit further than that, but maybe about 25 feet or so, 30 feet. It was right there, like close enough that when it got it was so cold, the air changed. It was so cold, like almost like to burn your skin cold, like, you know, scary cold, like, oh no, something's not right here, you know, as far as the atmosphere temperature goes around. And I mean, I knew at that point that the energy it's just so intense that you just want to pass out. I mean,
now could you Could you hear anything like coming out of it, or any hum, any kind of noise, anything like? Because I know the dogs were going crazy. I heard more than one dog going crazy. So it was your dog and probably a couple others there, right? That was kind of going nuts.
Neighborhood around, yes. We live up in rural areas, so nobody really has their yards fenced. It's all big lands, farmlands, and whatnot. And so it had plenty of open space there to continue to land. I mean, to this day, it still comes out a lot like that. Trying to get me to, I don't know. I'm really not sure. I mean, I know that at one point, these things started spinning around in front of me and formed almost like a tunnel. And I could feel pulling like in my insides. I'm talking like it felt like my consciousness was being pulled to go. I don't know if that's like a bridge to enter their ship, which is what I think was happening. And I understand it that we dematerialize and rematerialize to do that. So that could have been like the process of what was happening. And as long as I stare at them, that seems to be what they do, is they're like trying to pull me in, It reminds me of like in the movies when the like Hocus Pocus, when the witch is singing, come little children, and they're just like
pulling you,
pull us into them. It's crazy.
So you live around the Sedona, Arizona, and when we were out there, it's a lot of flat area, but you can see the mountains at a distance, things like that. So it's not like where it's covered with trees and things. It's just behind you. There's a nice little river back there and things like that. But where we were at, it's very open. It's kind of like an open range in a sense, but you can see all the mountains back there. So people that are watching out there, I want you to kind of get a visual of what she recorded out there. And it's kind of strange that we talk about how you talk about the energy and how the faces, and maybe it was it turned into some kind of lizard or an alligator while it was manifesting itself in front of you. Now, a lot of people will say is it a spirit or a ghost? Are these possible entities? Maybe, we don't know, but maybe, is this a possibility that there's something there on that land that is actually manifesting itself and maybe calling you? Have you ever heard like voices, things like that every once in a while?
Oh yeah. Voices. I hear the voices. I can hear them out loud. I hear them. I record them. Other people, I don't think other people have really heard them, but I've captured myself hearing them out loud and then capturing the voices in the video that I heard. As well as calling my name. My 6-year-old niece was outside with me, and I heard somebody calling my name. I mean, loud and clear in the bushes, and I didn't say anything. And she says, "Auntie, somebody's calling your name." And I said, "Did you heard that?" And she said, "Yeah, somebody just called your name." And as soon as she said that, we both, heard, "Look over here." And I look over, and this light it's like bouncing, like doing some kind of 4th of July show. It looked almost like sparklers. It was the craziest thing. They really want my attention for some reason. Still to figure out what that is, but
I mean, we always believe that these things can cross into different dimensions, right? They say up to 8 to 12 dimensions, the extraterrestrials. Of course, in the spiritual realm, it's a different dimension as well. So who's to say that they're not kind of together back and forth on this? Maybe, maybe.
Yeah. What I think, not to interrupt you, what I think is the energy, like that energy brings a lot of things, almost like Pandora's box. Watch what you, unlock, because you don't know. But I feel that it's like 50% of the good and 50% of the bad. There are times that I have had the most dreadful feelings and very, very negative energies coming around certain people I may be around. I've captured shadow beings. I've seen shadow beings, heard voices saying, help me, asking me where they're at. I don't know, so, and I think that I've, because I continue to research it, even though sometimes it can be just downright scary. I mean, really scary, because they do things. And I do think that there are spirits that exist or demons, and that it's not all just aliens either. I've come to find out that the aliens, they like to mimic us. So, right. And the spirits are just, it seems like lost, confused, or angry, very angry. I mean, I've had some things whispered to, I want to beat your dog, to hello, to help me, I'm lost. Can I hide out here? Like, one of the spirits was, I think it was a spirit saying, hey, is this your house? Because I'm wanted by the law and I'm just trying to hide. Is that cool? Can I, they come across to, you can tell some of them are the same voices. I believe I actually even heard my own father saying my name in one of them at one point. Yeah. So
is he alive or is he alive?
He's passed on. Yeah.
He's passed away. Wow. So, okay. So, I mean, since we're talking in maybe a different spiritual realm as well, because we don't know, we're just kind of throwing back and forth. We're trying to weigh everything in here. And we have to throw it out there because we don't know. Now, you live in Arizona. The natives have been there for hundreds of years, the locals and everything like that. And, there have burial grounds out there as well. Who's to say that? I mean, I used to live in a house. I think my sister, she lives in it now, but we were having a lot of activity at that house. Right. And, after several years, a friend of mine told me, hey man, she was like a medium. She says, hey, somebody was killed on this property like hundreds of years ago. They were hung in a tree right here. You're getting their spirit coming through your home because there's a vacuum there of some sort, right? So, and this is my point, bringing up the native burial grounds, because we don't know if maybe there's something there from the past couple of hundred years ago that they might have been buried there, and we talk about all the native peoples that have been around there for hundreds of years. The Zuni, the Navajo, the Hopi, the Apache, that they all came from Arizona right there. Most of them did. And they talked about, the skinwalker, which you see at the bottom left in that picture. And I know you're not supposed to disturb or anything like that. And you talked about there's a mine down there, not far from where you're watching a lot of these entities or UFOs or orbs that are popping out of that area. And do you know of any kind of maybe of natives or anything like that in the area that have possibly have some kind of burial ground there too, where maybe this is what we're watching, this is what you're seeing? Maybe
that's interesting that you say that, because the last house that I lived in, I had captured a couple of really, really awful shadowy, I don't even want to say they're shadow beings. I seen them with my own eyes, and I'm almost tempted to say that it's a skinwalker of some sort. And I had a friend over, and the friend, I mean, he doesn't even talk to me to this day because of what he's seen. Of course, he blames me for it, but I think that indeed it was the property, the land there, because it was an old native burial ground back in the day. And the natives, I mean, I've been trying to tell everybody my story, anybody. And of course, from most of the people, it's, oh, you're crazy, whatever. But the natives, they really enjoy talking to the natives, because they're raised to believe and know about the ant people, and all the stories that go back. Yeah.
And they talk about the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki, they're pretty close to the Four Corners, and they're a Native American culture. I'm going to read this to you real quick. That span to the present day of the Four Corners region of the United States, right? Comprising of southeastern Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. So they're like right there in the Four Corners around that area. And they believed that they had developed a part of the Oshara, right, a tradition which developed from it says Pecorsa culture, and they were referred to as Anunnaki, meaning ancient enemies, right? But the Pueblans, they said that they were like some kind of like astral people in a way, right? Even the I'm sorry, Hopi, they're the ones that said they talked about the star people. And what if they were seeing these same things that you're seeing? And they talked about it as star people, or they talked about, that they were actually there witnessing, because they do have stories of that. It's told in a different sense, a different dialect, but it's almost the same as yours.
Yes. I mean, imagine, like, how would you describe, a light that you seen in the sky when there wasn't, modern day technology for them to know. So of course, a lot of it's going to be a little misinterpreted, but I believe not only that, I believe that the beings, they have been coming back to the same areas. I'm learning because my great grandmother saw lights out there when she was out there camping, and this was 45 years ago, and I can only imagine they were probably the same lights. Now, what they're doing is they're trying to make individual contact. So they're going in remote rural areas that are open like that, right. And people are just is so into their phones these days, and nobody's actually looking up. And then you're just told, oh, it's Elon Musk or it's a satellite. No, I mean, come on, like, wake up. Something's going on, and it's been going on. I can say if they wanted to hurt us, they could have done that a million times over. Right. I don't think it's that, but at the same time, we don't have enough knowledge. Like, how do I know I'm not getting radiation poisoning or something like that with all the energy that's coming? I have no idea. I know this. I know it didn't feel good what was happening when they did get close. I have yet to actually board the mothership to find out. But I'm willing to take the chance.
Take the chance. Well, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, that how these orbs or spheres, they dim themselves down a little bit when they get a little bit closer to you. They're not as bright. If you notice, when they're out there in the field, they illuminate totally, fully bright, right? And I talked about this last night with Mr. Lightwing and on his podcast. We're talking about how a lot of people get radiation sickness, they get burns, they get diarrhea, stuff like that when they come close to a craft, right? Any UFO or anything that looks like a UFO, not as orb or sphere, but I would say it probably has the same kind of properties. So what I'm thinking is that maybe it's dimming itself down to keep those levels low enough so it can get as close as it can to you without hurting you. In other words, what I'm trying to say, or giving you the radiation sickness or that poisoning that comes along with it. I talk about it in a sense like a boat. You give it gas. You throttle forward, you throttle back. A lot of times you'll see these UFOs or whatever. They'll wobble, and when they're close to the ground. And I think it's because they've throttled back and they're just kind of weighing in on the gravity on the ground, and it's before they give it gas, because they don't want to maybe hurt anything around the area, or maybe there's people underneath, right? So this is possibly what may be happening to you.
Yes, it would be nice. It's like, how do you go to your doctor and tell them, can you check for this because of this? The government and the people in charge have done such a job repressing this down, right, and not letting, that everybody just is made to be crazy. Well, call me crazy. I know what I saw. I'm an educated person. I don't tell stories like that. I know what I've seen. I know what I have been seeing. And it is definitely something that I don't know if the world is ready for. I'd like to think that we are, but I don't know. I mean, imagine if they had come out I mean, we would probably have some kind of chaos, mass chaos, because it's taken me since 2019 to ingest the things that I have seen, and then not to mention the things that come along with that, which brings me to the CE5 contact. And why are we allowing that or putting that out there when we don't know what we're opening? I mean, I've seen like some movie stars on TV messing around and doing the, Stephen Greer's CE5 contact. And I don't understand why anyone would do that until we know more about what's going on,
And that's a true statement. That is exactly a true statement, because we don't know what you're calling, or which species you're calling. It could be the ones that take you and never bring you back, right? You don't know if they're going to be the human looking like extraterrestrials, or the grays, or the lizard looking ones, or the ones that look like reptiles, or whatever you want to call it. You don't know what you're getting into when you're doing this, and then we tend to tap into our inner self, right? Our astral science of chakra, right? That people always talk about. We always talk about, we have this energy within us that's able to call these CE5 events or UFOs sometimes, or these orbs. Some people have a good aura to them, to where they can, I've told stories of people that these crafts that come up to them, and an actual, looks like a human being comes out of these crafts and tell you know what, the only reason we're standing here in front of you and showing you this, because we know you're a good person. We can read that from you right off of your aura. Right. And this is what people carry, good people, they're not going to go and drop in front of somebody that's got or that's evil intentions or awful, and it's going to hurt them, because they're not there to hurt you. I'm talking about this certain kind of extraterrestrial, possibly, so we have these energies that are inside of us that we're able to kind of put it out there. You're able to call these extraterrestrials as CE5s, like Terry was just talking the other night. He was able to think about it. Hey, I want you to come closer. Or even Ryan Keaton, he says, I wanted to come closer, and they come closer, just like you did the same thing. You guys have this energy or something about you that when you witness these extraterrestrials or orbs or whatever they are, this energy, you said that something clicked inside of you, that you were able to, it's like your brain opened up, and it just for that sense, just to try to figure out, okay, what am I looking at here? I need to figure out exactly what this is.
And too, it was also like, something else was unlocked, almost like I've kind of known this all the while, it's something very surreal, and it's made me question my entire existence. I mean, from religion to, you name it, everything I ever thought or did, even reality at sometimes. And, what is this? Are we in a simulation? I mean, I can't even tell you. My brain has racked every corner and back and continue to go until I figure out 100% and get to the bottom. I have kids and grandkids, right? And I'd like to know what's lurking. I mean, these things can be in your house and you don't know it, which I'm sure they are, probably right now. It sounds crazy, but it's true. They can do things. I believe that they abducted me more than once. And one I did video.
Well, we have Donna saying, she goes, I think some people are spiritually open, which makes it easier to communicate with these entities. We always talk about having an open mind, about things, sometimes it's science, sometimes it's spirituality. They all go together because we're made of some kind of energy, right? And everything can be broken down into mathematics, right? Anything like that. Everything is mathematical. We know that. We know it's science, but it started somewhere, right? And it's within us as well. So every living thing on Earth has energy. I don't care what it is. If it's a plant, if it's anything that you see, butterfly, I don't care what it is. It has some kind of freaking energy inside of it. And we all connect with it. And that's why I talk about this astral sense. You know, we're all connected together as human beings, right? And we're able to tap into what you just tapped into. And now you're able to talk to these entities or extraterrestrials. Now, are you gonna find the answers? I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna. If it doesn't matter until my time is here, I will continue to seek, you know, the truth and the answers for sure. You know.
I mean, and I know
my
that,
mission now.
And you told me too that because you when we're doing the interview, it's not funny, but you told me, he goes, look, man, when this happened to me, I started studying books. I started studying science. I started, you know, going into physics, trying to figure these things out, things that you never knew before, right? Because you were trying to figure it out. And then a lot of the friends that you have or had, they would kind of look at you like you were kind of crazy, right? Or kind of funny, like, wait a minute, who am I talking to now?
No, I mean, I've had fights with my own family members. I mean, my own children even that know that it's because it scares them. They can't grasp the concept of it. Anything, you know, because we were told, hey, nothing exists out there. And, you know, I never believed that. I never went looking for it, but I never believed in this vast universe that we were alone. Never thought I would see it on Earth. But they're here. I mean, they're here, and, you know, they're making connects, and I hear good things and bad things, and, you know, everybody's experience is different. And what I'm learning is basically we manifest, you know, our thoughts manifest out there, and we bring our reality to us, in, you know, a cosmic way. And so if you're having bad experiences, I think it could be your frequency, your vibration, or the level or mood of your life where you're at in that moment. And when this first happened, you know, I was in a good place, and then all of a sudden I was in a very, very low place, low about myself, low about, you know, my life and the things around me. And I discovered that that's the kind of things that I was drawing into, very, very sinister, very scary, very dark things that I don't think anybody would want around them. And for some reason, I'm like a magnet pulling these things towards me. And so the higher my vibrations are, the better and happier, more positive encounters I have, which leads me to the fact that we are taught we are alone with our thoughts, or just God and the angels can hear our thoughts. No, everything that is living is connected and can hear our thoughts. So I've tried to have a lot less thoughts about things. You know, I've noticed if I overthink a problem, I tend to make it happen, I guess, in a sense, you know, which also leads me to things I don't know if I've always had this gift, or if it's the energies or the encounter or whatever's happened, some kind of phenomenon. But I will have thoughts that I'm going to know what somebody's going to say just before they say it, or, you know, kind of like premonitions of some sort, which is it seems like manifesting faster these days, or maybe I'm just utilizing that gift more or something, you know, but I'll have it in it.
Right. And it's just like you said, a person can manifest or think about the positive things that can happen in the future of their life. They manifest that you can make something positive happen in your life. You can manifest success. You can manifest all the positive things. And if your mindset is in a down state, in a lower state, in a lower set, to where you're thinking, wait a minute, I don't like my life. I hate this crap, yada, yada, negative, Nancy, right? So when you start doing that, you manifest that negativity, and it sticks on you. I hate to say it, but like flies on, you know what? So, and it does. And it takes a long time to to put yourself back into that positive mode. So you really have to sit there. I don't care if it's meditation. I don't care if you read the Bible. If you do anything like that positive, anything that's positive, Buddha, I don't care what it is. If you sit there and meditate and think positive and put yourself in a positive state of mind, you can actually put yourself in a safety zone around yourself. In other words, to where these things are not going to hurt you. They're not going to do things like that to you. It's not going to put a bad thought in your mind because you're able to put this bubble around yourself. We always see it in those shows of paranormal this and paranormal that. You know, they're out there, and before they go into those scary places, right, in the dark places, what do? Oh, please.
Yep.
You know, they do the cross. They do everything before they go in there. Why? Because they don't want that negativity to jump on them, right? Because they'll bring it home. We see it in the movies. In the movies, Annabelle, all these were true things that happen to people because of these evil things that can manifest itself. So all I'm saying is, what you're doing is you're keeping a positive state of mind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it took a lot. I mean, at one point, I mean, the spirits were moving cameras, calling my cell phone. It got to be very, very intense, and I felt very alone because people didn't understand, or just, the people that would come around me would have an experience of something like the one kid that this thing manifested itself right in front of him. I mean, he literally peed his pants and cried tears, and he was so scared, so frightened. And the energy with that made all of my hair just go complete static electricity, like instantly. The whole backside of my hair. And yeah, I mean, so with the CE5 and people that are going out there and purposely trying to connect or you don't, like, your state of mind is very important, because that's the kind of stuff you can unlock. And believe me, it exists. I mean, it's out there, and I have lots of proof, and it's, there's no control.
You show it in your videos. It's there. I mean, it scared the hell out of you at that one time or one part, and what you guys didn't understand what you were seeing, and it put your mind to where it kind of put fear. But now I think you're in a stronger sense from 2019 till now, or 2023. What is that? 3 years. So you're in a stronger mindset now, to where if you do see these things, you're not going to be in that scared sense or shock, because you've seen it before many times.
That's drawing into me, with my thoughts. I was drawing those beings, I guess, or those energies that are bottom feeders, for example. And I think that, one will know when you're within good and bad. You would think at that point you can feel the energy immensely, whether it's good or bad, I think,
right. I mean, you have to. You got to be positive.
Yeah.
We're going a little over than what we're going to do, but it's okay. I mean, what I wanted people to hear you, and I wanted them to hear your emotions. I wanted them to see exactly what you guys saw, and what you're still seeing today. You're still seeing them out there at night. How often do you see them now? I mean,
every night they're out there. I believe they're out there in the daytime too. They're just harder to see. They follow me. They go. I mean, I've went to California. I've went to other states, and they're right there, right there, waiting patiently. Apparently, they've been doing this for a long time. Some of them are immortal. So what else do they got to do, I guess, besides float around the galaxy and make contact?
And it's strange that you say that, because I think I told you this was when we were out there filming you, when you said that. Because I asked you, do you see him other places? And you said, yes, only when I'm standing there or I'm there around. Ryan Keaton said the same thing to me. He says he went to a place with his friend, and it was a couple 100 miles from San Antonio. And his friend said, he's into ufology too. And he says, there's never anything out here. You never see anything. So, and they were, lo and behold, they're standing out there in the evening. This light starts coming down right there in front of him, because he is the beacon, the transmitter, right, to what these things are, as well as yourself, right?
Yeah. I found that out staying with my cousin, and it freaked her out. And she's like, when you leave, your lights are going to leave with you, because they weren't here. And sure enough, she don't see lights anymore now at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're kind of following you, huh?
And that was right dead center of Phoenix in the city. Yeah, like right. They would come right down and hover over the house, around the house. But I never let them come close enough. And I say I as in because I think they're, respecting the fact that I am still, I have fear, and tell them to just keep their distance a little. They do. So far, if they have invaded that, I'm unaware of it. They're doing that, during abduction process.
Well, I mean, have you known of anybody in your area that has anybody ever seen what you're seeing out there? Are they watching the same things when you're out there?
Lots of people have different stories. Yes, there are many that have had encounters, but not, I don't think, to the magnitude as to what this is. My friend and I just went out there like the weekend before you showed up to test it. And sure enough, we went out there and they landed on the ground and were, waiting for me to call them in. Yeah.
Wow. I bet they were probably freaked out when they saw that, huh?
And that's what happens is most people just get so frightened and want to run. And of course it's scary. So I just stop making connect with them, like, and then they back off. And there are people that I've called my brother out there several times, and when he comes out, they back up and dim down and go invisible, and they don't want him seeing. And, he hasn't been a very good person the last couple of years. So I can see that. And he doesn't believe in God either, which I don't really know if that makes a difference, but they will not show themselves to him for some reason.
Well, it's like I said, even if you do or you don't, people carry this negativity around them. And like I said, it's just the way it is. Nothing wants a positive will not be next to a negative. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's always it's going to deter itself from it because it doesn't want any part of that. So what's probably happening to you is like these things are positive. They're a positive sense for you. They're helping you. Maybe in different ways that you don't understand.
I haven't figured out. They have a message, and I haven't been. Maybe I'm not as relaxed or meditating, and I've never really meditated ever. Recently, I've started doing that because it's good. Our thoughts are very powerful. Probably the most powerful thing we have, serious as the energy goes, and be careful what you put out there. You having fears, and just do your best to put it aside and try and think positive, or just completely not have any thought at all, because the good and the bad can use that. Those that are more in tune with that and know, can use that for sure.
Well, it's this. This has been an amazing podcast. We have had, I swear, this thing has not stopped. People are just chiming in. They're just out there talking. There's a lot of things that they're saying. Because they're listening to everything that you're saying. It's true, and it's right there because we saw it on video. It's right there. Your stories that you told. It's right on point. And because it has a lot to do with you yourself as an individual as well. Like we talked about, they're attracted to you as a person, as your persona, as your aura, and this is why you're going to be on the movie. We went out there and filmed you because people need to know this and they need to see this, because you're not going to have an alien standing there in front of you, with the 2 legs, 2 arms and the skinny head, whatever. You're not always going to see that. To have that CE2 or CE3, you're not always going to see that. It's going to be right there, and it's going to be just like your story.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, just everything you said. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad that you came on the show today. I really appreciate you, Ms. Jodi Lynn Brown. She is an ASDP representative, so she represents the state of Arizona there. And if you have any UFOs or anything in that area, she will you contact her. Go to Alien Strand. On UFO, ASDPUFO.com. Go check it out there, or alienstrand.com. It'll have a link there as well, so you can go to the both pages, and they coincide together like brother and sister there, as far as the pages.
So, thank you so much for doing that, because now people have somewhere to go where there is somebody that experienced enough to know what's going on, because not knowing was the worst, I think, for me. And of course, Annabelle really helped me, or I probably wouldn't be sitting here today, to tell you the truth. I probably wouldn't have known how to handle it, or what I was looking at or doing, or, he really helps me. And I think this too will help others, other than a government agency where they have to go, we're real people that have experienced things, and, to get some of their answers or questions answered.
We're citizen ufologists, no government involved. ASDP, Alien Strand Disclosure Project. This is what we are. And because you're an experiencer, if anybody they want to talk to you directly, they can. It doesn't mean that, this is the thing. We're not going to shun you away. We're not going to say you're crazy if you call us. We're not going to say, we're going to investigate everything. You know what I mean? And we all care about everybody out there, and we want you to tell your story, and we want it to be as a disclosure. This is a disclosure. It's a different kind of disclosure, because it's not tied in with government. We're all looking at these hearings. Oh, there's this, the hearings. It's what's going to happen? They're going to close the file, put it away, right? Anybody new comes in, they close the file, they're going to put it away. But at least it's being recorded,
Yes.
But at least what we're doing here today with this podcast, we're able to get the truth out there to people that really need to understand what people experience and what they feel and everything that goes along with it. And I just thank you for Jodi for bringing this story out to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and helping me tell the story.
Yes, ma'am. We appreciate you. Everybody says thank you. Rosie Marie says thank you. Donna says thank you. Terry Lynch says you're a great ufologist. Thank you. You did a great job. Anibal says you did a great job. We all stick together, and we all pat each other in the back, and we all help each other go forward and push forward. We want to make sure that we put everybody in a great mindset. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Jodi.
Thank you. I appreciate you, all of you guys. Yes.
We'll talk to you after a while, okay? I appreciate you.
Bye.
All right, guys. What an amazing show that was. It still is, and I hope you guys understand what we talked about and everything that we talked about, because it all coincides together. I don't care if it's mathematical, science, energy, you can chakra, you can call it whatever you want. But we're all connected. We're all connected in a sense. And there's some that's going to be bad. There's some that's going to be good. With hers and her experiences and the videos that you guys saw, you were able to see exactly what she experienced. And I'm glad you guys were stuck around and chimed in as much as you guys did. I really appreciate you. Be sure to follow us on all our audio podcasts. Hit us a like. Hit us a subscribe, man, on our YouTube page and on X, which is Twitter. All right. So we are live there. I appreciate you guys. Follow us everywhere if you can. This is why when you guys give us all this feedback, we're able to give you more content, right? And this is what we're trying to do, pushing you towards the truth of what we go through as human beings, right? And this is what the factor that you guys have to understand, that it all ties together. And I'm glad she was able to do it here on Alien Strand Podcast. And don't forget, if you want to be a part of Alien Strand Disclosure Project, ASDP, go to our website there, go check it out. Scrolling at the very bottom, go check that out, okay? And you guys can, join if you want to be a representative. It's free. We just want to know what your intentions, and if you guys want to be a part of it and represent your state, because this is going to be we are global right now. We're all over the world already. Even the audio podcast. I'm in so many countries listening to it. So many thousands of people download our show every day because they want to hear the truth. This is what I'm about, and this is what Terry's about, and this is what everybody as part of the Alien Strand Disclosure Project family does. Do this for you. But until then, you guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. Have yourselves a good night.
This is ASDP ufologist Terry Lynch from Oregon. You're watching the Mothership Alien Strand podcast with your host, Donald Ledesma.